I think we're live. Here we go.
What? Are we live again?
Yep. It is another
Yeah.
Friday. It's happening. We are going to, let me go to the main screen where we're both on there. All right. Look how sexy this looks. I don't know if Steve can see it yet.
Wow.
Hey, look at this. The graphics are horrible, dude. I honestly just pulled all this stuff down last night and I was like, I need a backdrop. I need to make us a little bigger, get our logo in there. And then you could see, we're going to go to this screen, which is when I'm a little solo. If I'm talking, whatever, we got a little Steve. Look at
There you
Steve.
go.
Hey,
It,
this guy's
it
huge.
looks it looks professional.
It looks
I
almost
mean,
professional. And then we got the
well,
screen share if I'm going to show. And have you ever heard of this guy? What is his name? Marshall C. Harrison. He does a lot
I
of Holdsworthy stuff, dude.
oh, look at this. We're looking like a real
scale
show
really
these
helps with
days.
these, like,
Yeah.
Wow, this is production value's gone up by like 30
Look at
cents.
this. it was a little more than 30 cents, but anyway, our audio should be good. Hey, everybody. I hope you're having a great holiday season. It's already is it Christmas yet?
Almost.
So yeah, we are live and we're going to today talk about a bunch of things. It's a little squirrely week. We both kind of Steve had a real crazy week to say the least. And
Yeah.
but life happens, and yeah, it's and especially during the holiday, these things, a lot of weird stuff happens. But I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
Yeah, no, I don't mind, and obviously this was a tough week for me. I lost one of my very best friends yesterday. He was a friend of mine for little less than 20 years. He was a guitar player here in New Jersey. He was also I do a lot of nature photography, and so um, I knew for a while he was pretty sick, and he was fighting it off. He had been kind of dealing with what he was dealing with for about 14 months, man. And it's a long time for your body to kind of fight off what he was fighting off. And finally, the other night went back into the um, urgent. Well, he wasn't in urgent care. He was in the hospital. And he went into the ER, and they put him on a vent. And unfortunately, he succumbed. And so it was unexpected, not necessarily. I mean, because we kind of knew it was coming, but obviously, um, it's still unexpected when you kind of even get the heads up. And he was a great guy. I debated, all day because I was on the phone with a lot of people. His friends, my friends, we all shared a big group, and then people that it's crazy. He had people calling me today from the UK, and people that like he had reached, because he was very articulate with his bird photography and his nature photography. He was also very opinionated, so he had a little bit of a following, and so I had a couple of people calling me from the UK, so that was really cool. My wife was like, "Are they really calling us from the?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I was a little worn out, and around like 4 o'clock, I called you today, and I just said, "Dude, I want to do the show." I know that he wouldn't want me not to do something because of him, and I felt I wanted to do the show just because obviously I like this. It's cathartic for me, and it's fun, and we get to hang out with everybody that watches it. So thanks for asking. And yeah, just if anybody's out there, and just all I could say is say a prayer for Mike Mealy. He was a good dude who loved playing guitar, and he's definitely missing. I'm hurting a little bit, but I'm here, man.
well, glad you're here. I was waiting for that call because I didn't I didn't know if that was going to happen. I was still going to try and do a live stream to keep this consistent. We've talked about that before. We're setting up to where if one of us falls out for whatever, at least we
Sure.
have Friday. And yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. I know
Thanks.
what he meant
Thanks,
to
dude.
you and everything.
Yeah,
And,
but I knew, like I said, around 4 o'clock, that this was something that I feel this is cathartic for me, number one. And then number two, I feel like we're growing something here.
yeah,
Every week it just seems, we get little dribs and drabs of people that are following and watching. And this is real life, unfortunately. This is fun on the internet with two idiots, but
Hey, one idiot. You're a smart guy.
You're the idiot.
I know. Listen, I always take that. Listen,
But,
if
yeah.
anybody's out there too, please do comment, share what's going on in your life. Let us know, what you want to chat about or whatever, because that definitely helps the mood. It's hard
We have a
when
good
these things
show.
happen, but yeah,
We have
everything's
a
good.
show planned, and I
Yep.
think we're gonna talk about a couple of different things tonight. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to kind of move on and constantly move forward. Otherwise, that's how things like depression sets in. And I know
Yeah.
people that unfortunately suffer from that. And for me, I always want to be moving forward, and I know my friend Mike would want me to move forward. And this is all about us having fun on a Friday night and just sharing conversations and hanging, and people that are out there. Everybody. I don't know. People are watching this. Somebody may feel alone, and who knows? Maybe they're watching this and they don't have anybody to share this, and where their Friday night hangs. So.
So let's get into it. Let's start with your Sabbath shirt. Are you a Sabbath fan? Like a big?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. I mean, dude, at the end of the day, I have 700 records. Okay.
Right.
And I try to have pretty much a little bit of everything. And by that, I mean jazz, blues, metal, and rock. And in there, I have about 7 or 8 Sabbath records. And I have the essential Sabbath stuff, the Ozzy, I have the Dio, and then I have, I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any of the Ian Gillan era Sabbath. I don't have any of the Ray Gillan. I don't have any of the Tony Martin. Just a bunch of the Dio, and
Right.
I mean,
Right.
love Sabbath. I mean, great. Yeah, I'm all over the map, dude. I get
Right. Well, speaking all over the map, that's part of what I think our topic's going to be again this week. So I didn't even get a chance to write a list. I actually have on my phone. I was learning so much stuff this week, and it just actually started Thursday, maybe it was Wednesday, but there was one day I woke up and it was a little chilly here, so I didn't want to go on my walk. And I'm like, man, I just popped on the YouTube, and the first thing that comes up is Rick Graham, and he's showing some stuff. And maybe I could find it on here or whatever. But he was showing he's been posting a lot lately, dude. I don't know if you follow him.
I do. Yeah, I do.
So he posted this one thing lately. Where is it? Let me see. Are they shorts? They're videos. No. So the first thing he posted was let me share my screen here. Look at this technology. Screen share. So the no practice. The technical is difficult. 7 sequence. Legato. Where's the 3 picks? Practicing without practicing. There was one that he did where it was a chord thing. It might be this one. Yes. So basically he's talking about, sorry about the dead air or whatever, but is this playing the desktop audio? I don't think it is. Right? Now it is. Yeah. Okay.
Those kind of close voicing.
So sorry. So basically, what he's talking about here, I thought it was, when I first heard, I thought he was playing these open string chords that were so fascinating, but he's actually playing these. Hold on. He's playing scale tones out of a C major scale, and he's literally. How am I getting tangled? The whole point of doing the way I wasn't getting any tangled. Hey guys, listen. Sorry for this. So the thing he did was he's literally taking just scale notes out of a C major scale, right? So, and I actually don't even know if I have a clean tone dialed in here, so I'm gonna just. So it's basically taking a C note, a D note, and an E note, right? But he's gonna play an open string wherever he can. So he starts with the C. Obviously, you can play a D note open, and then you play this E note here. So you get, now if you play it all together, it kind of gets a little mushy because they're all, you know, half steps and whole steps away from one another. But if you play it C, D, E, then you're going to go to the next one, which is going to be D, E, F, right? So what you're going to do instead is you're going to play the D note open, right? And you're going to play the E note and the F note. Now you have to find out how you can play those now. So you're going to play the E note on the 12th fret, the F note, and then the D note down here. So D open, E, F. So the first one is, then you're going to go to the next one, which is going to be, you had C, D, now you're on E. So E, E, F, then the open G note. And then you have F, G, A. So you play F, open G, and the A note here. So you get these clusters that are single note, scale notes, but they sound like chords, right? But how many times have you played a chord with individual notes of a scale one after another? I don't think I've ever done that in my life. And that's the thing that Rick does that's so fascinating. He comes up with these concepts, and I don't know where. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years, and not once have I ever thought of doing that concept at all.
Right. Did he
have you?
share? No. Did he show, like, because I know we were talking about this, and I didn't really get a chance, just kind of, you know, with what my week was, but did he share like how he would apply that into something, like into a tune or into like an improv or something?
So here's the problem with what I was getting at with my clustered week. There's about 5 topics I want to talk about because I watched 5 in that time. I was doing this and I did that for an hour, and then I went to another guy that I'm going to talk about that's a Berklee graduate, and he super good teacher. And I know a lot of people know him. He's got like 70,000 subscribers, been doing it a long time, posts a lot, and he is super talented, and an amazing teacher. And even when he shows this stuff, it's not just concept and then, oh, here's this. Like when I show concepts, a lot of times if I don't have it under my skin, then I know the concept and I can teach it. It's just sometimes I don't have it fully. This guy knows his fretboard so well. He's just dialing, he's improvising throughout all the concepts, like play this scale up a half step or a minor third to get this effect and this. And you're just like, dude, this guy is so I'm going between all that. Then I came back to another Rick Graham thing where he was doing this legato thing, and I'll pull that up or whatever. But he was talking about, you know, that first finger hammer on, which he always talks about. And I think that video, let me see. So basically I never got to the end of this video because I didn't put enough time into it. This is the legato one.
And while you're doing that, we did get a comment, but I just wanted to let Six Strings of DNA know that we'll get to you in like a second.
Yeah. So this is the legato thing that he did. What a great chord to finish on. And this is, again, Rick Graham's been posting every day now. I'm so glad to see he's back to doing this. But so when I see this, so this was actually, so that first thing was on Wednesday, that chord thing. So I was muddling around with that, doing some other Steve Vai stuff, transcribing some Skyscraper stuff. We'll get into that, whatever. But then Thursday, this came on. And I was like, oh man, I always got to work on my legato. And that's and he does a cool thing where he's always doing these weird chromatic notes especially when he gets to the top. So it's really just, it's just an E major, or a Lydian. So he's just going up 3 notes on the E string, then down, then he goes up, then the next string, 3 notes down, goes up a shift, then up, then here he adds a minor third instead of the major third, which is just gets out That's all in. Then chromatic. Then chromatic, but skipping a whole step. Then chromatic. Then back up here. Then he does all these arpeggios, and I don't have 24 frets to tap, but then he goes down here, and he does this. Just a beautiful little chord thing. But again, all that I was picking to show, because I don't have a strong enough first finger, but he's doing that hammer on from nowhere with the first finger.
Yeah.
On the next string. Whatever, all that. But to me, I'm just watching this. I'm like, okay, I got to work on that. And then so I start working on that. Then I'm going back to that chord thing. And then I go, dude, there's just every day. It's just one thing after another.
No,
it's
I know.
crazy.
And it's funny because my approach to the week has been the same thing that we have been talking about for the last 6 months. And that is literally, I keep working on one backing track, and I keep playing triads, and so similarly with legato, I came up with this B minor scale in 4-note per string across from the starting on the B on the 2nd fret on the A string all the way up to the the 17th fret on the E string, all the way at the top of it. And basically, where I was getting with that was kind of like, if I'm improvising and I'm playing triads, I'm trying to be very intentional with my melodies and create very simple singing melodies. And that was something that we spoke about the other day, was being intentional. And so you were like, oh dude, are you singing? I was like, yeah, I haven't done that in a while. And I started singing my lines, and man, it's crazy what that opens up. And so part of it was just keeping it to triads with this B minor progression. So I thought of something, and we were like, oh yeah, we got to do this. So what we're going to end up doing, and I don't know when we're going to do this, is David and I are going to take a backing track, and we're both going to make a video of it. And it's only going to be maybe 30 seconds or so. And the experiment that we want to do is we want to both play maybe like composition, a little bit of composition, maybe a little bit of improvisation, just kind of put like essentially what would be a quick, like, video if you were basically putting something up on, social media, just like a TikTok kind of thing, like a 30-second video. But what we want to do is kind of just see what each other guy is doing, because Dave and I used to play together all the time, and that's kind of was always like, oh, that's cool, like, so in lieu of that, because Dave's in LA and I'm in New York or New Jersey, we can't do that. So this was kind of like an experiment, but also we want to break down what we're doing and share it with you guys, because I think the one thing from my perspective is when I'm hearing a backing track, and this actually kind of parlays into, bring up Six Strings of DNA, say that he plays guitar, loves the sound of solos and finds them hard to copy. Do you guys have any tips or advice? Well, here you go. This is kind of bringing you into this conversation.
So what we might be able to do too is that backing track, that's a YouTube audio clip, right?
It is a YouTube audio.
We'll share that link at the end of this in the description, or actually in the first comment. I'll pin it.
Yeah, you know what? I have it right here. Let me grab it, and so that way, you can pin it. But let me
actually send me the link on what were we using up there?
Yeah, I'll send it over.
Slack it to me, and I'll open it up in YouTube, and then we'll listen to it for a second. But Six Strings of DNA. So what we can do too is everybody can participate if they're interested, and send us a link to their stuff, whether it's an audio or video. And maybe the next time we'll go through our playing and then talk about what we thought and what we did, and then we can listen to yours and maybe not critique it, but critique it. If you're looking for some.
I think the only way you get better is if you kind of put yourself out there. I mean, that's really the only, like, if you go to a guitar teacher and you sit with a guitar instructor, you're gonna be vulnerable, and so there is an element of, you have to be a little fearless and you have to take chances to get better. And so, like, that's the reality of this. Dave, you're kind of putting yourself out there. I mean, like, I'm not necessarily as confident to just pick up a guitar the way that you do it. And so, like, I think there is that kind of being fearless. And we're also not here to judge each other. Like, I think that's the other thing. I know, like, you watch YouTube and there's a lot of, like, guys that are just sitting there going, slagging each other and, trying to be perfect and, like, oh, this isn't perfect. But it's gotten to the point where it's just like, it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous and it's not real. And so, we're here, I don't want to say, because it sounds a little like funny, but we're not a support group, but, like, we're here to get better. We're here to challenge each other. So I think what you have to do is to put yourself out there. And I think part of this experiment is, like, I have a ton of videos on Instagram, but I was just like, I'd love to hear what Dave does on something like this. Dave, you saw the Slack I sent you, right?
I did. I just got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's part of it, so we're gonna, when I don't know if I'm gonna have the time this week because I have a, kind of a wake and a funeral and some stuff, but I really want to do
Right.
this because I want to hear what you're playing over this differently than and I'm sure you're eager to kind of go, like, what are you doing? And I think
Yeah.
like, that's obviously where I think we're going to get better is by kind of talking about, like, um kind of thinking out of the box. And the one thing that I know is like more playing more triads versus just playing the overall key center.
Right.
That's
So that's the funny thing. So the other guy I'm going to talk about today, again, man, I don't even know if Marvin something, well, not
okay.
Marvin Gaye, but Marvin Berklee guitar. Okay, there he is. Let me see if I can pull up his. Okay, no, it's not Marvin. It's Marbin, Marbin music. In fact, I'll share the screen. So he is, yeah, does it say any safe place for those who like shredding? And he's been doing this since 2010 or whatever. He's got like 70,000 subscribers, 1.8 thousand videos. He's been doing this for a while. But dude, he's an excellent teacher, and he talks about some of the stuff that you're talking about as far as, you have to kind of just do it. You have to, you really have to put in the hours. That's part of it. So six strings, this would be a great thing. You say you post some covers where you do improv. I'll check those out for sure. Is your YouTube channel at Six Strings of DNA? It's so my approach. I played over that track already just a minute ago. Oh, my pedals on a weird stand. I played over that track when you first sent it, just because I was testing out this ToneX, and we're going to talk a little more about modeling stuff too, because I discovered some fun stuff after you kind of pointed me in directions. But I took a few swipes at that track while I was playing this ToneX, and it was fun because I went. The first pass was just trying to find, because there's not really a modulation. And one of the chord changes aren't really drastic enough to really feel the chord change happening. And I
Right.
forget what it was, but it was like it's a pretty simple backing track.
It's a very simple backing track,
In B
but
minor or
you
something.
it's B minor, goes G major,
There's
goes
a
back to
D.
B minor, and then where the B section then does F sharp minor 7, B minor, I'm sorry, E minor, F sharp minor, and then the modulation, if it was F dominant 7.
Okay, so here's actually the backing. Let me get to. This is the track. So yeah, B minor, G 3 times, then E minor, B minor, E, G, B, F sharp minor 7, and then there's a dominant 7 to pull it back around at the end.
Which is where you would put the B flat.
All right. Let me see if my desktop audio is even playing right now.
Yeah, let me just make sure.
But it's very moody. But even in this, I don't know if I can get my guitar in here too. And this is totally putting yourself out there, because again, I have not spent any time on this at all. I should not be doing this. But for me, the way I first started doing this, you know, again, we're in the B. I don't know even where we are. My guitar's not playing. Maybe it can't handle all this audio. It's interesting.
Yeah, you're good, dude.
Yeah, that's weird. What's going on? All right, let me stop this desktop audio for a second.
See if that brings it back up.
Maybe. Huh. Something get pulled? That's weird. All right. Well, technical difficulties. But so what I would do normally on this is I would just play around with B minor, right? Yeah, I mean, basically that's the tonal center. And then as you're playing around with this, that's really, really weird. As I'm playing around with this, I start throwing in some ideas of some licks that I'm learning. So there were some Steve Vai licks that I was doing. And then we had talked about the working in the key Moriaka stuff from, you know, that was one of the things that we were doing. And so, yeah, let me see real quick. So with that, I started throwing that idea in there. And again, I've been experimenting not just on that E and B string. When we talked about, I was doing it on all other strings. So I was trying to incorporate just a little, and even that 6-note pattern, I was just doing just maybe 4 notes, you know, maybe 6 notes. And then I'd go to the next position and I only play 4 notes of it and get back into the scale. So I'm incorporating a bunch of things I'm learning. I think that's one of the things that 6 strings, if we're talking about improving and soloing and stuff. I think the problem, you know, we learn a lot of ideas from transcribing and all this, and we never incorporate it. We don't spend enough time with it. So and then even if you do spend time, I mean, you have to really, I mean, the whole point is to, sure, you could play, like I sit on my couch all the time, I'll play a Steve Vai solo or something, and it's fun to play, and I don't even need the backing track. I could just play it and it sounds great. I'm getting the bends right, I'm getting the phrasing right, and I'll move on to something else, and then I'll do some legato practice thing. But if you're not playing against backing tracks, or you're not playing with real people or whatever, none of this stuff is going to be absorbed, and you're just not gonna, it's not gonna become a part of you.
Yeah, and I think too, like from my perspective, I kind of went from like where I'd learn something, master it, and then move on. And then like I would try to put little dibs and dabs, but now I'm just really just sitting there and I'm parking my ass on like one thing. Oh, you're back. I hear you, dude. Yeah, there you go.
No, it's not. It's so weird, because on my thing, it's not even, it's blinking like it's not on. So it's the opposite of. It is coming through, right?
Oh yeah,
and the
it's
tones,
totally
but it's not, the tone's not right. Like that's the empty tone.
Yeah, it sounds like but I hear it.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no, that's cool. So you know what I've been doing is like kind of the opposite of all of that, and it's literally just been immersing myself in key center or triads instead of a key center. So, you know, where you could sit there and play B minor and play the B minor pentatonic and just rip scales and rip lines. To me, I'm kind of thinking in the vein of like somebody like Andy Timmons or Alan Hines, where I'm just really trying to be intentionally musical. You know, like the little things the slurs, the bends. And so like something like what I've been doing with this, and literally it's ridiculous. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks of me just playing this backing track, and I still think I suck at it, to be
This
completely
backing
honest.
track.
Yes.
This one. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll play other stuff, like I'll take breaks, but I keep coming back because again, I I notice then what I notice is when I stop for a day and do something else and I come back, I notice then that I am coming up with more ideas because I'm limiting myself. I'm limiting myself doing just this. So there is something to be said when you just kind of give yourself enough, you know, not more than what you need, you will kind of like necessity is the mother of invention. And really, you start creating ideas because you don't have, like, you're just like, I'll slap my hand, be like, no, no scale playing, no, no lines, no licks. It's about like trying to be intensely
Right.
melodic. And
Yep.
so it's putting an idea together and then trying to form different like like so if like like what you said was sing something. So like if you're playing that backing track, I was like, but da 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 da, like two of that, and then da 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 da, and then it would go to the next part, and then I would kind of like maybe bend up, within there. So I really am trying to just play um, very limited lines and really trying to be like as if it were
Right.
a singer. So
Well, if you listen to Andy Timmons play, I mean, most of the times he's playing super, super melodic. I mean,
yes,
that's the thing. Like all his, I mean, his Beatles albums, all that stuff. I mean, it's melodies with bass lines, it's chord melody stuff. But then even when he solos, it's always, it's just that beautiful phrasing. And then he'll get into some fast stuff and some crazy, but he
right,
always brings it back. And even when he's doing the chromatic stuff, there's always a target note, and it's not just I'm going to play this scale, cool, and I end up here and whatever, I'll figure it out there. Like there's a purpose for those fast lines to get from point A
yes,
to point
yeah,
B.
yeah,
So all the technique in the world that you learn, the legato stuff, the fast picking, the alternate, all, I mean, it serves a purpose for sure. But
right,
I mean, think of all the great players, and think of all the, besides those fast, flashy licks that pique our interest all the time, think of all the coolest guitar solos. They're always, I mean, Here I Go Again, right? Whitesnake, fun solo, just so
right,
simple. Vito Bratta stuff, Van Halen stuff. I mean, think
yeah,
of Ain't Talking About Love, the simplest solo in the world. Everybody thinks he does super complex stuff, but that solo is just a repetitive thing going up a B string with an open E string, and it just
right,
it works, and it's melodic, and people can sing along with it. So the more you can actually sing the lines you're playing, that's why jazz players tend to be so good, because they
yeah,
can literally, I mean, think of the George Benson stuff when they're scatting and doing all this stuff. They'll take a listen to On Broadway and that solo. I mean, he scats through the whole thing, and he's
yeah.
playing these kind of complex, fast lines.
Yeah, and the cool thing that I noticed when I was doing it, because I was singing stuff and like I would go to play it, and I'm like, wait, like my ear, because it helps with your ear training. Because like I'm going back and I'm like, playing, like I'm singing a line, but I'm not, like my hand doesn't want to do that. So in a
Right.
way, like I was literally kind of also trying to break out of that muscle memory, the licks and kind of it. So really, I would say to our new friend that's watching, definitely do something that's going to limit your whole output, limit that, put something together. It could be literally where you take a looper and you just do maybe 2 or 3 chords and play the triads, try to sing a melody using those target notes, and keep it really simple. And as you do it, and don't just do it for a day. You want to get
Sure.
better at it, you gotta immerse yourself in it. You have to literally live it and like know it all. Like it's also a great exercise for learning the fretboard
Sure.
because you know I thought it's so funny. I thought like here I am, and I told you this the other night, and like you were just we were asking each other some questions where it was just like, let's get real. You know what I mean? It was like, how well do you know the fretboard? And I'm like, well, I know the fretboard enough where I look at a D and I could sit there and go, all right, 10th fret, 5th fret, and then 12th fret, and then 7th fret,
Right.
as you go down this. But when you're playing or when somebody's talking about like chord changes, I'm like, and so again, I'm just making myself vulnerable and accountable to you and to everybody that's watching,
Yeah.
because I'm like, fuck it, man. I want to get better. And so I'm just going to live in B minor. And it's, for me, it's literally that, I'm playing
Yeah.
is B minor triad. And then when I modulate, I follow the modulations and I try to make it in and out, and I'm limiting myself. And so where I'm getting better and where I'm seeing improvement in that, and that's why I want to do this experiment with you, is and I have had a few weeks, obviously, that's what I've done, but it's not for me to say like, oh, I've got a couple weeks on. It's really just like, I want to see what you would come up with after a week or two, and then share what I've at. And then if anybody else wants to play along, you could send us your video. And we're not necessarily going to start doing it tonight, but so if anybody wants to, get in on it, man, we're not here to like make anybody feel bad,
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, criticism, at a certain point, you have to be able to take criticism, because that's the only way you're going to improve. There's so many people that, I remember there was a guy at music school that, man, he just thought he was the greatest guy in the world. And people would say, yeah, I mean, that sounded great, but some of your bends are pitchy and this and that and everything. And he just would never take the advice.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, I heard him playing, and he's playing the same exact stuff, the same exact way. There's nothing has improved. And I mean, dude, I love when people tell me, critique what I do, because one, I self-critique every day, and generally I know most of the things that people are saying I'm just not capable of doing it. I haven't put the time in. But there's always something that somebody says, I'm like, man, I never thought, just like you're saying with these chords, that guy Mabin. So if I go to a little screen share here and we go back to the this guy, Marbin Music, he was talking, basically he was going through he does rock, jazz, fusion, kind of a lot of Scott Henderson-y kind of things. And here I am promoting, but you guys got to check him out. I think he's fantastic. He's funny, kind of has this Henderson, attitude when he curses and makes whatever. He's a funny guy, but he has that whole thing where he's going over, it wasn't giant steps, I forget what it was, but there was a Herbie Hancock tune, there were a couple other things, there was the there was the one Creed tune, very popular. What is it? So it's a C major chord to, I think, E minor, to F major, to F minor. And he was playing the arpeggios over all those things. So over C majors. And when you go to E minor.
Are you playing what is that?
Radiohead?
Are you playing Radiohead? Is that
Creed?
Oh, I thought you were playing Creep by Radiohead. It sounded like the change.
Oh, is it Creep? Maybe it's Creep. Maybe it's Radiohead. Yeah. That's what it is, right? And so it's basically C to E, right? To F to F minor, back to C. Right? And you're literally just finding those arpeggios and walking around or whatever. But he was talking about even giant steps was a little too fast, so I know it wasn't that. Maybe it was I don't remember what it was. But he was talking about those inversions that you were mentioning, where if your C chord here, on 3 notes per string, right? There's the G, which is the 5th, then the C, which is the root on the 3rd fret. Let me show you this on my little screen. So you got the C on the 3rd fret, then the 3rd fret on the A string, that's the actual root note C, and then the E, right? And then here's your C major chord in that first position,
right?
But you're only playing 3 at a time. Then that's like an A7, right? Well, most people can do that, but now there's C, E, and G. You're on G. You want to go up to C, right? Now this position, you go right? And in every position. But now that's an exercise people do. But what if you're going through a chord progression like that Creed tune, right? Was it Creed? Who was it?
Creep,
Creep.
Radiohead.
Yeah, I'm terrible at pop tunes. So you have
Yes, you are.
C, you start out C, right? Now the next one's E major. So now, right? The next one's F major. Then it's F minor. Now you're playing the chord progression in all these different positions. Now think about if you're playing a tune that's faster.
Yeah.
That's a great starting position, but you're playing a Beatles tune or something. Can you play that in all different positions? Not just knowing bar chords, you know, like here's a C chord up here, right? And then E major chord. You know, so playing those, splitting it into little triads and really getting to know those arpeggios. So
Right,
now
and drilling it to the point where you're not like, so you are,
yeah,
like it's like this, you know,
yep.
like you're
And
going,
you know your shapes. It's almost under your hand. It's like pentatonic. Everybody knows A minor pentatonic here. Everybody knows that, right? Now, if you go to D, you know you can play up here. Same shape moved up or whatever. But what if you're here, A minor pentatonic? Can you play D minor pentatonic?
right?
Right? So you have to, and that was right. I can't. Right. So you have to not be, especially when songs are going with chord changes so fast. You have to be able to be on spots. So the chord thing what's so important about that is you're learning root, third, and fifth. Now, targeting root notes over chord changes is a little goofy. It's almost like a moving bass line.
Yeah.
So and even a fifth. The fifth is good, but the root and seventh are the main things. So if you have I'm sorry, the third and seventh. So if you have a major chord, you want the major third. If you have a minor chord, you have a minor third. Now it's either A major, right? And if you target, or well, if you go to A minor, you have and the seventh. So you have either a minor seventh or a major seventh. If you're in dominant, you have that major third and the minor seven. So those are real distinct things. If I just targeted the root of A, you don't know, or even the fifth, you don't know if it's major or minor. So you're not pulling out those tonalities. So now if you're playing a progression that is like that creep, that's what it is. So if you have C major to E major to F major to F minor, if you play the C and you play the major, we'll play right? And then if you go to the E, well, the E note's right there, but the third, that's the third, right? And then now if you go to the third of F, and then the minor third, right? You can hear it. I mean, even with one note, you're not doing anything else. Now that's really rudimentary and basic.
And you hear the tonality, and I think that is, you know, it kind of just like almost comes down back to like the whole Mel Bay, like, you know, book where you're like, Mary had a little lamb, but when you go like, all right, well, I'm gonna really limit myself. You then hear, like, when you're playing these things in quarter notes, you know, like when you hear that F minor come up over there, that really like changes the whole direction of that song, you know, like when you just played it. So I think that comes back to, with improvisation or just playing solos, is, you know, you have to be intentional. And I know, like, you know, the one thing guys will say is like, oh, I'm really getting into it, and I'm just going into autopilot. But really, that's bullshit, because you're really just kind of going into muscle memory and just ripping out like every lick you know. You're not really improvising. You're keeping it safe. To be honest, if you're improvising, you're probably sucking. And you know, like, unless you're like a great, like a guy like Scott Henderson or one of those guys, if you're like a guy like, you know, and again, I'm comfortable enough to say that, you know what I mean? Like, I went to college for music, and I still, like, if I'm improvising, you know, I'll hit like the melody, And then if I'm if I'm improvising, I'm probably hitting some clams because
Sure.
you're not like you're not in you're focused on trying to create something.
Well, and
So
you'll always hear guys like Henderson and all those guys. I mean, these guys are masters, right? And they're always like, "Man, I played like shit." And you're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's just going for things. And I remember at music school, somebody was, I forget, one of the teachers was talking about, "Man, I would rather watch a guy hit a million different bad notes, but be going for it." And
right.
then have that one idea where like, oh man, he landed it. It worked, right? Then to just have a whole night of playing the same old stuff over and over. And okay, you
Yeah,
can tell he's
yeah,
rehearsed and practiced these licks. And again, it's not. This is where, as you get older, as anything in anything, but generally, you should be able to mature enough to the point where you take criticism as, I don't care, man. I'm just doing my thing. I'm never going to be. Listen, I'm just never going to be a Scott Henderson or a Steve Vai, and that's not my goal. My goal is
yeah,
having fun and enjoying this stuff. But you can't have blinders on. Like, you do want to improve, right? I want to see in a year from now I'm better than I was a year ago, just for no other reason than it makes me feel good to go, man, okay, I'm starting to get this, you
right.
know?
I think for a
So
long time I was very scared. And I say that like in very honestly, very candidly. For a long time, man. Like after I stopped gigging and then I stopped playing, I started playing again about maybe 15 years ago. Honestly, like I wouldn't put anything out there unless I rehearsed the
yeah,
shit out of
yeah,
it. And it was like even like if I was coming up with progressions, like I was literally composing them and then just playing the shit out of them where they were perfect. And it was great to like have people say, "Oh yeah, you can really play." And I'm like, I almost had like imposter syndrome,
Oh,
where
I
like
still
I'm
do. Oh,
yeah,
everything I do is imposter syndrome, and I think that's an attitude. There's two different types of people. Those people that just have, a lot of politicians, to say the least, have
yeah,
that doesn't matter. They're the best. Everything I say is the best. Everything I say is right. And there are other people. I just don't have that. I've never had it in sports. I'm really good at tennis. I'm really good at certain things, but man, I just know that I'm not. There's always somebody better, and it
yeah,
doesn't. None of that matters. It's not about. I'm just want to have fun,
right,
and I
right.
just so even anybody watching this or whatever, let us know where you're like six strings. Let us know what you're having actual issues with or whatever. Also, if anybody's interested, we do have Guitar Breakdown does have a bunch of lesson package. Blah blah blah. We got to try and sell something. It's Christmas time. Buy
Oh
something.
yeah,
But
buy Dave some Christmas shoes. He needs new tennis shoes.
I need another Tonex pedal.
I need a ToneX pedal and new tennis shoes.
Yeah, and but we got a bunch of stuff. Alan Hines, we've been talking about that, doing some fun things. Uh, I just love teaching, and even playing this, and doing anything live. I'm in the same boat. I would have never done this before, like because I cared. There was something about if I was practicing. I mean, the other week I did some Vito Bratta stuff, and I hadn't played it in a while. And normally I would never play that unless I had it
Well, you
100%.
were right. You were down. I mean, and
Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to say that to you because I really like. I was just like, man, that's ballsy that you're putting yourself out there because somebody could watch this and go, that guy sucks.
Yeah,
You know what
all
I mean?
along I
And
thought he was a good player, and
right, like,
then now yeah.
but like honestly, so all right. I don't want to bag on, and this is not me
Oh, I've
bagging
got
on
a
a
George
player.
Lynch story that's hilarious that I gotta
Okay.
tell you.
Well, all right. Well, this is not that. So, and I'm not going to say who this is, but so there's a YouTuber out there,
Tom Quayle.
and there's a new. No, it's not Tom Quayle.
I'm just kidding.
There's a new pedal that came out, and of course they did a big launch, and on it. And I'm not going to say again because then you could just go and see who I'm. So I'm not going to say
Right, right,
anything other than, and I apologize, but we're not here to talk shit about other people, but just each other.
right.
But so anyway, the pedal demo, the guy was ripping stuff out and then like there was another video where they were all like there were 7 guys that did the demo and they all did a jam and you could tell that that was live like they were like each guy was cutting it live and I watched each guy and I was just like, oh, I'm not alone. Like it was really like almost comforting in a weird way because I was just like, oh, dude, like, you play these videos and you're fucking amazing. I'm sitting there going like, this dude's incredible. And then I watch that and I'm like, oh, he's just playing some pentatonic Zach Wild
Right.
licks, like,
Yep.
you know,
But they
and
all do it. That's the thing.
right,
Everybody's, there's this with the advent of social media and everything. Everybody's putting their perfect face forward. I think
right.
that's changing now. Now that a lot of people are doing these podcasts, a lot of people are doing live things.
Well,
Um,
we're not
yeah,
perfect,
I think
and
people are so over the ultra edited
well,
perfection.
yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the Giacomo Turo stuff where, like that guy was
Oh, right.
faking his
Yeah.
playing and, and I think like even to the point now where like there was a guy that just did a takedown video. And I don't know if you saw this and I have no problem because it's not my video, but there was a guy that did a takedown video of the Music Is Win guy.
I did
Um,
see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
and
didn't agree with some of the stuff he said.
no, I didn't
Some of the
either.
some of the playing, he was saying, "Yeah, I don't know if he'd played it." And I go, "No, it kind of looks like he's playing it actually."
Right. But I mean, to me, it's like, we're getting into that whole thing where like now, if we're recording something, it's like, oh, he can't do it live. Well, like so now we've gone to the point where like everybody was trying to be ultra, ultra, ultra perfect to the point where you could tell like it wasn't almost real. To the point now where like if you are playing something that seems complicated and doesn't sound right, you're automatically like either faking it or pre-recording it. And so, it's tough because the internet is cruel and can be tough, but
Well, and that's where the shame of it is too, because that is part of the reason why I've said a million times, dude. I download every week. I search every day, 3 times a day. I search Scott Henderson because on YouTube, if a video clip comes up, somebody recorded on their camera, it is down within an hour. He's got a guy that takes everything down because one, he doesn't want to hear the shit talking. And he really doesn't even pay attention to that much anyway, but he wants his best stuff up there. But
right.
I'm sure that also came from years of just being like, it's not the best, and then somebody saying something. All it takes is one person to say, oh man, that sounded like shit, and that reinforces your thought of it sounded like shit, and now you don't want it out there. You want
Yeah.
people. So the same thing with this. I mean, every one of my lessons back in the day were recorded. I mean, I practiced, and I can't tell you how many takes I did to get it perfect. So I do a whole that what is the name? John Mayer. I remember doing that, and for some reason, I just couldn't get those subtleties dialed in and be exactly perfect rhythmically, especially towards the end of the solo when it finishes the solo and it starts going to some of these melodic, slow, bluesy licks. I couldn't
Yeah.
get those little slurs to time. And man, it had to be 30 takes. And I don't cut anything. So it's, a 3-minute solo, 2-minute solo. So it's one. But finally I got it. But I was like, man, that's a lot of work to care about one individual mess up note. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
But now that's why this live thing, I love doing this because it is what it is. I mean, listen, I'm not the greatest player. Even the other day I was playing that thing. I don't know if you can hear, can you hear that?
Yeah. 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 Mhm.
So this is that Vinnie Moore. Whatever. So, and it's a little slower, a little faster than that or whatever. But I was having so much trouble with that. It's just simple picking kind of stuff. And I remember the first way everybody transcribes and plays it, instead of playing those notes here, 2 notes on the D string to 1 note on the next string, and then going up a string, doing 2 notes on that string and 1 note on that string. Everybody was doing, right? And they're doing it on, and that's really hard for me. And I'm like, Vinny would never do that. But I was having such a hard time getting like really getting that dialed in, where this hand was moving slower than my pick hand.
Okay.
And I could, when I'm trying to analyze it, I'm like, why am I fumbling? This isn't that difficult. But had I shown that a week ago when I only played it for a day and a half or so, it would have sounded terrible. And it would have been like, man, this guy really, that's not a hard lick. He's not doing it. My fingers just weren't synced up.
Right.
But man, all this thought of what anybody else thinks, I just don't care anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love,
I think, yeah, no, I agree, dude. It's like you get to a point where like, I pardon the French, but screw it, man. It's just like, life is short. This is fun, and if you don't like it, then don't follow it. You know what I mean? Like, and conversely, I mean, the guys that like I follow each other on Instagram are all guys that seem like they just are having fun and they're going for it, and so they're not, like, and I think that's the takeaway from all of this now is just like, be intentional, be genuine, um, put the time in, because that's really the whole thing. It's just put the time in, and you may not see it. Like there was a great article. So I follow Arnold Schwarzenegger on, like he's got like a newsletter. He puts it out every morning at like 6 a.m. And so literally there was there was an article where he wrote, where it was just like, how come I'm not getting bigger? And like the guy literally wrote, I work out, I'm going to the gym, I eat right. And then Arnold was like, you don't necessarily see yourself getting stronger. You don't necessarily see the gains. Everything takes time. So if you want to get better, you have to put the time in, and you may not automatically see that progression. It doesn't happen like that. At one point, if you do that and you're intentional, like I've been intentional with everything, I slowly see like, oh, okay, cool. I'm coming up with new ideas, things that when we talked like last week and I told you I came up with the 4 note per string scale, you were like, almost like, wait, you never came up with anything? I go, no, dude. Like I just literally copied people's licks. And like, when I wrote, when I was writing for my bands, I was writing songs, and then like I would write solos. I mean, but that's not really coming up with licks. That's just basically like putting shit together.
Right.
It's different, and so like lately I feel more creative. I feel like I'm by limiting and being intentional and really living in the box. Now I know I can't do that forever. I have to kind of move, but for the time being, I'm immersing myself in that world, and that's really my advice to everybody.
That's the thing. You have to take enough time to allow it to become part of your. Again, if we're learning this stuff just because it's like, oh, cool, I learned that cool solo or that cool lick, and then there's so many things. I go back to so many transcriptions, and I'm like, man, I work so hard transcribing that. I haven't played that in years, and I haven't even played something that is reminiscent of that. So obviously that didn't sink into my playing. So I spent all that time playing something fun, and then a year from now, it's not even a part of me or my playing. So you really have to spend some time with this, even the littlest of things, like you're saying there. So for me, I love mixing 2 or 3 things up, doing a chord thing, doing a solo thing, learning a Steve Vai or Jason Becker or whatever, but then also learning a concept, whether it's a key moriaca lick, which is a concept of a pattern, and really exploring that, or if it's a jazz concept, playing, if you play down a half step from a certain thing, you get a Lydian, you play pentatonic off of this chord, a half step down, you'll get a Lydian, you'll get the, the sharp 4. And so just, and going, okay, so anytime I get to this in a chord progression, I'm going to try and think of that concept, playing phrasing with a scale down a half step, or play up a minor third to get some altered notes, and just, or down at a minor third. And so all these little things are great, but the more you pile on, the less you stay focused on those things.
You kind of almost have to, like, somebody I was emailing with maybe a couple weeks ago, like I had sent him the K Marioka, the package, and he was like, oh, thanks, dude. He's like, but I don't really play licks anymore. And I'm like, really? And I was like, I go like, why? He goes, because it's a waste of time. And I was just like,
I don't get when people say that. I just don't get it.
I do get it, because here's a story. Okay, this is a true story. There's a kid on Instagram that follows me, and I had learned a Steve Lukather solo maybe like a year ago, and then just so happened, he's a local kid, and he was at Guitar Center the same day I was, and he comes over to me, and we're talking. He's like, "Oh," he goes, "play that Steve Lukather solo." And I was like, I felt like Jack Butler when he loses in Crossroads, and he's like, like,
right.
I'm like, shit, I can't remember it, man. And so, like, I think I was like, all right, maybe, like, I shouldn't be learning licks. Maybe I should just focus on concepts. And I got where this guy was coming from. But I also get like learning licks. I still love learning licks. So I'm not going to ever stop learning licks. But like, I watched a video with Andy Wood a couple of weeks ago too, and Andy Wood was saying, almost the same advice. Is like, if you want to learn the fretboard, licks aren't going to get you there. It's like concepts, and obviously, you have your one pattern if you're playing a pentatonic minor in that one position. But really, like, you want to think of the fretboard across the fretboard. You don't want to think of it. You want to think of it horizontally, not vertically. And so,
well, there's two. Those are two different concepts, and each one is valid. I mean, the piano is easier to see because you're seeing it across a whole spectrum or whatever, right? Guitar, we can play the same note on 6 different strings, where piano you can't. You're playing octaves of it. You're not playing the actual note. So there's valid reason, and everybody has a different mindset of how they learn, right? And when I say licks and stuff, I just love licks because something obviously sticks out. If I hear a solo and something sticks out, I go, oh, I got to learn that. And then I learn that. But just learning that, now I'll take it through that concept phase where I'm like, okay, well, let me play that. It's a Mixolydian lick, basically. Well, let me play it in melodic minor. Let me play it in a whole tone scale, which is really weird because now you're
all
just
right. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Oh, let me awful.
Let me put you.
I got to take a break.
All right, let me put you to the test on this.
Okay.
All right, let's say you're giving a guitar lesson, and I'm hanging out, and you're my guitar teacher.
Okay.
And I go, all right, you're going to show me a lick. So show me, like, the old Chuck Berry, bend, then like the two, do that. And then show me how, like, you would apply that same kind of thing differently.
Okay.
How would you do that?
Okay. First of all, I will end this podcast now. And so let's real quick, 6 strings. Yeah, you guys are really giving good advice. He says I should I should target notes more and add more triads. Very important. I mean, it really does advance you in the quickest way possible once you start doing that. I posted a guitar short cover of a song that I improvised over. I wouldn't mind some feedback. Hey, if you want to get in on this throwing you under the bus kind of thing, send us a link right now to that thing. If you want us to give you feedback, we'll watch it right now and give you a little feedback if we can. So the Chuck Berry thing, right? Let me get this level right because that was the reason wasn't coming a little loud maybe. Are we good? Is that loud or too loud?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, so the little Chuck Berry. You're talking about something like that?
Yeah, that just like.
So the first thing I would do with that is I would, again, think positionally. And I would take that through all 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. So if you have the first A major, or A minor pentatonic, that's what this is out of. Right, you're taking the 4th interval, bending it up to a 5th. Then you're playing the 5th here on the B string, and then you're playing the A note on the next string, which is the root of A minor, right? So you're playing 4 to 5, 5, and root. And that's why that lick works so well, because it's targeting the 5th and the root of the actual chord. And bending that note even goes to the root. Slide into it, right? Or slide into the whole lick. And you can actually lay on that note a little. like Jason Becker would, where he'd bend up and down and give it a little. Right, so you can get all these different phrasing things with just those 3 notes. Well, now I take it to the next position. So you're bending this note to whatever note this is, and then you're playing up to that top note. Well, in the next position of A minor pentatonic, you have. Let me get me on this screen so you can see a little more. So on the second position of A minor, you're just starting where that second finger is. Now you're on the 8th fret. Right? Well, that note is going to be here, and you're going to bend to the next note of that position. So that's going to be, right, that's a step and a half.
Okay.
Now, instead of a whole step bend, you're doing a step and a half. And then you're going to play this top note. So instead of... Now you go to the next position of A minor pentatonic.
That's cool.
And now this is pretty much the same as this. It's a whole step bend. Then you go to this, and this position is going to be another whole step and a half.
Wow. All right. That's awesome, dude.
Now what you do here, instead of having that double stop here, again, it's almost like an A minor arpeggio for that pentatonic scale. You have 12, 14, and that B string is going to be 13, 15, then
right.
12, 15. So you have this. So you're going, right? Now you could throw the F in there. It kind of works, but so what I would do is,
that's great. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and then you go to the next position. Again, that one works exactly the same. So you got.
So I think you know the reason that I asked you that you know is obviously the sorry, I was just checking the audio for a second. But the reason that I asked you that was specifically was, you know, you have a lick, and how do you take a you know, any like type of lick, and how do you put that into your playing? How do you adapt that into something else? And you just clearly and really knocked it out of the park, dude.
Listen, podcast over.
That's it, man.
Let me know if anybody enjoyed that out there. If that was an okay lesson, let me know.
That was pretty fucking good, dude. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm going to put the F word out there. That was hats off, man. That was really impressive. But seriously, though, you know, I think that's the key. Is it's like you just kind of countered why I, you know, was like, don't play licks. But then you just actually took a lick and applied it and put it in different positions on the fretboard. And so I think you have, again, you have to get into the mind frame of thinking like this. So
right.
How did you, I guess my question for you would be, how did you get to that point where you're thinking conceptually like that?
So I think a lot of it was transcribing and transcribing things I liked so much, but I wanted to get in my playing, and I realized that I don't want to just play that lick in that one position all the time, and
Right.
only when I'm in that key. And then so now again, even this lick, so the coolest part for me is working in and out of those licks, right? So now you got this, right? Well, you can start out with, right? You could start with a little bend here. You can start, right? Well, now that's all in one position. Those are really, really simple things. But now if you go to the next position, you go like the BB King stuff, right? Now you got that minor, major, third thing. But now you add that. Now you just threw that little lick to get you to transition to another position. And I'll tell you, funny enough, this little BB that you picked that lick out was funny. I remember at music school, Shane Terrio, one of my favorite guitar teachers and one of my favorite players, we've talked about him before. He would do that in some of his solos. Not only would he go, Like he'd get all these slick kind of things going, but he'd also add some taps. So he'd go, I think he did, he did some crossing over thing. Like he just did this weird thing where he's crossing over his fingers and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, how do you come up? And he's like, I'm just using this idea as my platform. And I know I want to end up here. And I know I want that slick bending thing to continue to happen throughout. And it's just a matter of working it. And I remember Alan Hines, the first lesson I ever took with him. I didn't know him. I called him up. I said, dude, I know you're over at MI. Do you give private lessons? I think I talked to him at the Baked Potato. And I was like, do me, I'd like to take a lesson. I take one. And he's like, show me a lick. And I think it was the simplest, I don't know, something like, right? I don't know. It's something really, really stupid. And I was like, I just want to know how to take something simple like that and make it different. And he's like, well, you start with, you can do end on a different note, right? Instead of, right? Now you're taking an idea throughout the whole system, right? You're not, you still have the basic idea of whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a chromatic thing where you have those, right? You're outlining a note. So that's your target note. You're doing a half step above, half step below. That's just an arpeggio.
Right.
But you're starting with, well, now use that concept in everything. Even this little beat, this, is it a BB King? What are we calling this? Is it BB King?
Chuck Berry lick? Yeah.
Right. So if you're doing, instead of that, you can start, right? I just did a half step above, half step below. Half step below, above is the flat 5. Below is the major 3rd. Then you're getting into the 4th and bending that up to the 5th. So you have, how cool does that sound? Right? Yeah. Or don't bend it all the way up to that 5th. Bend it up to the flat 5. And then get the 5th up there. Now you get this real chromatically working thing. You get this.
And you want it just almost like you almost kind of want it to modulate. You're just asking for that to modulate to something to yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. And so we just got that from a Chuck Berry lick. You went from a Chuck Berry lick to this whole thing, and like that's exciting.
And if somebody played that, you would never know it was a Chuck Berry lick.
Right?
But that's in my mind. That's
dude, that's amazing advice, and I think that's something that, like, really, I hope everybody watching it is, kind of maybe taking something away. It's like, again, we're talking about it. We keep saying it. You're being intentional, and you're thinking. Sometimes you don't know what to think. It's kind of like when you're playing, you just put your hands on the fretboard and you go with muscle memory. I think you have to train yourself to think. And this is another example. So basically, kind of what we're talking about is, take a lick, put it into a different position, try to build something off of it. Also take a lick, and you don't have to change, you don't have to move the lick around, but just change the lick necessarily, like, and, change the end note, change, where you start maybe, like, but keep the framework of the lick the same, and then build a lick off of that. That's great advice too.
Well, and think of everything as a potential lick, even if it's not a lick that you're like, oh my God, this is a great, great thing. Again, the Vito Bratta, I just love everything he does. His solos, a lot of it's very arpeggio based, right? So that whole solo, I forget you called it, but. Right. What is that tune?
Little Fighter.
Oh yeah. No, this tone sounds crappier than it did before. Funny. Maybe that's just my playing. But that whole very beginning, right? That's just an A flat major arpeggio.
Right.
But he targets, he's not just going. Right? He's literally, and that's the A flat. He's just sliding down from from that note to that note of the
So
chord. So
the other thing I think too, Dave, is like, you know, in improvising and kind of playing licks and stuff, is I think you have to know your timing. I think you have to know, like, you know, like if you're playing, like, you know, say, you know, you can't just go dibba 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 dibba. Like, you got to play like off notes. You got to play off the beat. You got to play like, you know,
well, it's
dotted
singing
eighth
too.
notes.
Phrasing. You know, when you're singing, you're not singing da 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 unless it's Mary Had a Little Lamb or something.
Right,
But
right,
it's
right.
da 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 da. Like it's you've got melodies and there's rhythm and everything. And that's what I was saying. Like with this, even that again, is it a creed? Creep. That's what it
Creep.
is. Dude, don't shake your head like that. Don't be disappointed in me. So
I don't. I still have expectations. So when I stop
well,
shaking my head, that's when you get worried.
Someday I'll reach your expectations. So if you have C major to E major to F major to F minor. Well, if you do that Vito Bratta thing, right, and you have C major, right? So let's take anywhere. We'll take right to E to F to F minor, right? But if you do it the Vito Bratta way, and you do, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, so I'm just guessing.
I can't wait to see this.
Right? I mean, you're literally just trying. You're phrasing through that with a little.
Dude,
that
you need to actually now make that happen and like do that, because I want to hear the Vito Bratta version of Radiohead's Creep. Dude, right there, right there.
I don't know. Whatever he starts doing the tapping stuff and all the sliding.
That's your homework for this week. I know. Right. Everybody that's watching this right now, you got to message Dave and tell him you want the Vito Bratta version of Radiohead's Creep.
That's going to be funny, actually. That would be actually. But that chord progression is so great because it's so easily defined. That major to minor, doing a single chord. A lot of times when you take a major chord or a minor chord and go to a dominant to make, you know, you're talking about subs. Here's another real quick thing. So we're going all over the place, but this is all those things, those lessons that I was talking about that may been, man, I'm just honestly, Marvin? Is that Marvin? Right. It's not Marvin.
It's Marvin.
Mardin. This guy's on it.
God.
So dang it. You stop shaking your head. The one thing he was talking about, oh God, now I'm really losing it. There was something, the tritone thing. So this is really fascinating. And these are things that, this is Berklee stuff. I never thought about this. And you tell me if you've ever thought about it. So if you take say you take an E flat note and an E note, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you disperse them in an octave and you have the E note, but you take the E flat and put it up an octave, whatever, that's a major 7 interval, right?
Right.
And you can tell, so you have the E flat, that's your major 7 of E. Now, if you do the opposite, where you have that E flat and you take that E note, that's a minor second to E flat, right?
Right.
So if you put it up here, right, you have that minor second. So now if you do a whole step and you have the D and the E, if you take the D and go up, basically that's a minor 7, right?
Okay.
Of E. If you take the E to the D, that's a flat 7, right? No, I'm sorry. So a minor 7, and then the other one's a major second, right? From D to E is a major second.
Right.
So now if you go down another half step, you have D flat to E. That's a minor 3rd there, or it's a major 6th.
Okay.
From the other interval, right? So so the relationship between those two notes constantly changes and flip-flops into something different, right? And this is really important when you talk about chords. But the one thing that doesn't do that is a tritone. So if you have an A to a sharp 4 or a flat 5, which is going to be E flat, if you take that A and go up an octave, that's a tritone to that E flat. So now you have E flat to A. Now if you take the A and flip that E flat up an octave, you have a tritone again.
Right.
Those two
Okay.
notes are always a tritone away. And that's how you come up with that whole tritone substitution thing, right? So if you have a C major to an a G7, which is the 5, so you have your C major to the 5, which is G7.
Yep.
And then you go back to C major. That's your resolution, 151. Right? Well, the other thing you can do that a lot of times they do is instead of doing a 1 to a 5 resolution to the 1, they do a 1 up a half step back down to 1. So now you have a C major.
Yeah.
What is essentially a C sharp or dominant.
Yeah.
Yep. And then back to the 1. That's the blues going up at, right? You got that half step movement or whatever. And the reason that works is you're really only changing one note, which is that minor second of from the C to D flat, right?
D flat, right? Okay, yeah.
But you still have that tension that wants to resolve. Right? And so now you have all these tritone substitution chords that work, and it's because only one note's actually moving, right? Does that make sense?
It actually it actually does make sense.
And it's fascinating how that and diminished chords work too, because have you ever done the whole, this is again, you have a diminished chord. If you drop one note of every diminished chord, it becomes a dominant of something else, right? So if you just take that
I've heard this.
Right.
Yeah. My mind still can't wrap itself around it, but yeah, I've heard this.
So it's fascinating when you actually think of these details and these harmonies and stuff. And it's not just understanding them, it's applying them. Like with that blues thing and understanding that you can now the important part of, you may not think it's that big of a deal going from C major to G back to C, or going from C major up a half step of a dominant back to C. But the two differences are the bass movement. Here you have, right? Here you have, which adds a little more tension to that resolution.
Absolutely.
So, and then if you're actually doing voicings that aren't as closely clustered as that, you hear it as more of a harmonic range thing, and you may not necessarily hear what's going on, like, oh, well, that's just a half step up and above, It's all this stuff is so fascinating. That's why I don't understand. There's some people that say, oh, I'm so bored with guitar. I play the same stuff.
No, dude, how do you get bored? Right. Like, well, that's the thing. And I think we just talked about that a little while ago. Again, it's like you play the same stuff because you just get into that rut of like never challenging yourself or putting yourself out there. And dude, like hats off, man. I really think that you just kind of gave a really masterful instruction, dude. That was pretty impressive, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I'll knock you down about something later, but now,
I'm waiting. It'll be 5 minutes. You know what we didn't knock down the drinking for the day. Let's get into that real quick, and we'll change some subjects. Yeah, today's sponsor is Knob Creek. Did we talk about this one already? We might have. I don't know. So Knob Creek and a lot of other places do.
I don't think we did Knob Creek yet. No, okay. I know Knob Creek because I told you I worked in the liquor business, and that was I sold Knob Creek. So no, I would have remembered that.
So these guys are very special. They and it's a little harsher. It's harsh on the top or whatever, but they do barrel selects at a lot of places. Did you ever do those barrel selects?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I didn't do them myself. They had guys come in from Tennessee that did all that stuff.
So what they do is they actually at the places that I've been to 2 or 3 different ones. They give the store a selection of 3 barrels, and they say basically you sample from these, take your time, and you let us know which one you would like the best, and that your store will only sell that barrel. It's a limited off, one full barrel. They get a ton of bottles off of it, and then they get to name it too. And then this one was named. This is barrel 5617, hand selected by Kill Ernie's, or I don't know, whatever. But they didn't. don't think they actually named it something. There was one that they named it a pecan bomb, and it really did. It had some. It wasn't overly sweet, but it was delicious. So anyway,
Yeah.
tonight's my bourbon night, and cheers to everyone. Happy holidays. I'm gonna pour myself a drink and listen to Steve tell me a story. A nice bedtime story.
Yeah, well, it's funny too. Like, so you said that one had a pecan finish to it.
The other one that I had, and unfortunately I didn't know enough about these, so I only
Mhm.
bought one, and
Right.
they're like 79 bucks, whatever it was, and all sold out like a week later. And then I didn't think any. I'm like, okay, how much? And then I went to another place and they had this, and it was even better than that one.
Yeah.
And I bought 3 of them. I said I don't want to go without when I find something I like.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because like I don't necessarily drink like I did 20 years ago when I worked in the liquor business in the wine and spirits world. Now my specialty was wine. I wasn't really a bourbon guy. Um I was really more of a wine guy. And I had a couple of really, really good dudes that were training me. And like literally the one dude was like miles from sideways. I mean, he was sadly he's passed away. He like this dude could
Well,
tell you every flavor. And at the same time, what was great about this guy was that like he was as passionate about wine as he was 80s metal. He'd be
that's
like,
funny.
like we'd be out like having a work dinner and he'd sit there and he's like, so yeah, I just picked up this Vane record and I know you're gonna love this. Have you heard it? I'll burn you a copy. And like he was awesome.
Right.
He was such a nerd and like in the best possible
Yeah.
way. But I learned so much about wine from this guy and like how the barrels cook the
Yeah.
when they sit there and they go, oh, I get the citrus taste, or I'm
Dude,
like,
it's
you know,
fascinating. The community around that stuff. Again, I always say I'm going to start podcasts. I'm not an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic because
right,
there's just, but there's a passion to it, just like guitar. When people are really into it, it's a thing. And when it comes to this is the like this. I'm tasting these flavor. It has a really hard hit, and if you put an ice cube in it, especially if you put a big one, it chills it. If you put smaller ones, it dilutes a little bit,
yep,
rolls off the top end of this. It's like
hmm,
playing guitar. A lot of it, you'll have fuzziness. You got to roll off with an EQ.
sure,
Everything has, if you're attuned to these things in the world, the temperature, the whatever, things affect you. And this has a top end that I like. It's a little harsh, but quickly it subdues. And then you get
right,
all those flavors. And then it attaches to the back of your thumb. And then when you think it's over, it's like a weird backwash. You're like, wait a second, it's
yes,
still there.
it has a
And that,
finish.
oh, dude, and there's a thing called Salerna aged, I think,
Hmm,
or something like that,
hmm,
and that's where they go from barrel to barrel to barrel. So in the cycle of its life, they'll start in a certain cask, and then they'll go down to a Cabernet cask, and then they'll end it in a port cask. So they'll have a
right,
bourbon that's touched all these different barrels, and the flavor's been in there for years and years. So it just gets these little subtle nuances. And
right,
there's a Jersey place that does bourbon that you're like, Jersey bourbon, what? And they do the Salerno. I think it's called Hill Creek or Hill
okay,
something.
okay,
Fantastic, dude. Really, especially their
huh,
port one is
huh,
unbelievable. Very, very subtle.
interesting,
But again, that's why I love that with the music and stuff. There's
yeah,
there's
well,
people, when you talk about it, they talk about it so passionately and
right,
and like, oh my God, I learned that's when that judging thing that my groups of friends, whether it's listen, I do have some alcoholic friends and I judge them quietly, but
yeah,
we're all having fun. We're enjoying life with the music.
right,
I don't care if you're a good player or bad player. I've always said I love teaching beginners. And if anybody wants guitar lessons, by the way, I'm still giving those. I still have some slots for those. So let me know. Do them Skype or Zoom or anything. But you don't give guitar lessons. Did you ever give guitar lessons?
I did, I paid,
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah, I used to, but I just now, I mean, I have a full-time job, so I don't have the time
Right.
to, yeah,
Right. So but the funny thing is all that, like I remember saying, man, I love teaching beginners sometimes. This is back
mm,
then, not as much now, but because you learn what not to do. or you
Sure.
learn what the struggles that people that maybe you don't have these struggles, like maybe your legato is just sick and you for me, I have decent legato, but that first finger, I can't do the true hammer on from nowhere. It
Sure.
just doesn't work. So now I'm always picking, and you hear that the first note is always little louder than everything else. Now, to some people that may not matter, but to me, when I listen back, if it's not in a
Yeah,
mix,
it bothers
I
you.
hear it. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, the accent's always on that same first
Yes.
note of the next
Yeah,
string.
no, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So
I think the biggest thing, and this is not just, it's not just booze. It's not just, it's
you say that
anything.
in such an angry way, not just
Oh, booze,
booze.
booze. Yeah, but I think you have to be passionate. You have to be into it. Like, it's like playing guitar is fun, man. And like, if you just kind of go through the motions, and that's why I think when you see somebody that's kind of just like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored playing guitar, it's because they don't have passion for it, and so it goes with anything, man. Like, my friend Mike that passed away, he was into guitars. Him and I had the bird photography thing, and we were passionate about that.
Right, yeah.
4 months of the year, every weekend, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, we would go out to Ohio and Pennsylvania and parts of Western Jersey and New York, and we would go look for these little birds that came from South America and try to get them landing on a little stick and take a pretty picture of them. And we're passionate about it.
Right.
And I think that's the key, because if you're passionate, you're gonna want to be around other people that are. That's
Yeah.
what made us. That's what made us
No, for
friends.
sure. Yep.
And so you're gonna find other people. And I think when we're doing this, we're showing our passion, and the folks that are watching this, and thank you for watching, and please follow and chat and share and all that great stuff. But you're passionate about it. It's Friday night. You could be doing a billion other things, but you're watching two idiots. Say it, Dave.
One.
Yeah, you're the idiot.
He's all there he goes. Once in a while,
But
you got to take the claim of the idiot.
I don't know. I get a mulligan this week. I'll be
do.
the idiot next week. But I think the thing is that if you're watching this, and you're here, you're into it. It's just something to do, and you're passionate about guitar, and like literally, I'm at work, and I probably shouldn't be saying this in case any of my coworkers ever see this, but all I think about is this when I'm there. Like, I mean, I'm either thinking about B minor, arpeggios,
You're
and
living in B
I'm
minor.
living in B
Yeah.
minor, dude. That's that. I'm gonna
So
make a
actually, real
T-shirt.
quick, I'll go over that too. We'll get into it. But so there was something else that you said that I mean this community, even the comments, right? I mean, if anybody wants to comment, I love hearing. I'm selling a guitar this week, and somebody's coming Saturday to sell one of my guitars, and of course I plug it in to make sure everything's working right. And I'm like, man, I don't want to sell this. It's one of the, but we were talking back and forth, and the guys, it's the first time on Craigslist. The guy's like, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna send my wife because she'll give you the cash or whatever. I don't even need to hear it. I trust out of everything we've said. You know what this guitar is, and I know what it is. So but the conversation that we had was talking about, it's a Van Halen guitar, and he was talking about, oh man, I grew up on this and that, and literally we had probably 2 days of text back and forth, and I'm feeling like, man, I want to have a beer with this guy. Like, I just that passion for a similar thing. And it's an immediate connection. That's why some of the people that chat in here and stuff, I feel like I'm like, I could be friends with these people. Like, I don't know them besides,
Yeah,
a few words
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
but we have the
yeah.
same passion. And then when they bring up something that I was thinking about a week ago, I'm like, oh my God, I was doing the same exact thing.
Yes.
And
Well, that's the thing, dude. Like, and again, to kind of bring this, again, I'm bringing my friend Mike. That just for those who joined late, I lost my Dave's one of my very very best friends. I lost one of my other very very best friends yesterday to leukemia after he was battling it. But the one thing that I wanted to say is that, like, you have to have this just like crazy passion. And so when he passed away, people from the UK were reaching out for him, because they loved his photography. So my other thing is I do bird photography in the spring, and we post on Instagram, and I actually am good enough to where like I actually shoot for a lens company. And so I'm not saying I'm like the Rick Graham of bird photography, but I'm kind of maybe the Dave Clayton of bird
Come
photography,
on.
like, but
The Annie Leibovitz.
yes, maybe, but my point is that he was like, we were so passionate about that, and I'm still passionate, but like when he passed, he had people that he impacted that didn't know him and like never spoke to him. He didn't even put a picture of what he looked like on the internet. He had a fake name because he didn't. My point is that they saw the passion. They saw the passion through his writing and through his photography. And that's the same thing, man. If you watch people on the internet, like if they're doing YouTube, I watch them and I'm just like, man, dude, you are boring. And I don't feel anything other than you're just trying to get views. And and maybe that's like the Jersey in me, and I hate to sound, it sounds like so Bon Jovi cliche, you know what I mean? Like I'm all Jersey, but like, man, the one thing about a lot of people from the East Coast is like they're passionate. And I'm not saying that like to around the country, but I think it's just because we wear our emotions on our sleeve. Because you're an East Coaster, I mean, just because you're out in California, but like we're outwardly about our passions. And I feel like when you're like that, I just feel people want to be around that. It's contagious. It's fun. I mean, let's get into this. Paul Gilbert, he's an East Coaster. His
Pennsylvania,
energy is
yeah.
Steve Vai, endless, boundless energy. I mean,
Ron Thal,
another guy from Staten Island. So Avito Brado is a guy back.
Well, and then these guys mix in, right? You meet all these people at GIT or whatever school you go to.
Yeah.
And you build communities and this passion doesn't just have to be an East Coast, but East Coast.
No, but I mean, I'm kind of half joking, but like, I think it's just because that's just who we are. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people may be around, like I've met other people from around the world and everybody's different, but
there's the comms to dude, like there's the cool guy thing laying back, and I like that stuff.
I'm just a dork, man. Like,
I love this stuff,
right? We're dorks.
Say,
we're
dude, calm down. It's just guitar, and I'm like, no, but you don't understand. I do this.
Everything. It's everything. Yeah, no, it's all I think about.
Dude, the others. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No, I just was gonna say, like, literally, like that's all I think about. I mean, if I'm not working on something, I'm sitting there trying to get a better tone, and I'm not just like sitting here talking with other guys like, oh, why Charvel is better than you. Like,
that's
I'm
a
getting
different thing.
Like I'm not into that whole gear forum kind of thing. Like I'm only doing that so that I can have a better, you know what I mean? Like just to
that's the hard part too, is the so even talking the gear stuff, the ToneX stuff, I've dove into that actually right now. Today I'm playing through, and I don't know why this sound, actually that's not terrible. Actually, if I put the mute, does it sound much different if I go, and here's that if I take this,
well, if you tune your guitar,
does it sound better when my mic's off?
Do it again. I was listening to your guitar not being tuned.
Oh yeah. It's because I'm pressing it down too hard.
What are you, a beginner?
What I am basically. So here's the very right. Okay. This is without the mic.
That's better.
It is better.
Yeah, I mean the only thing
marginally better. Does it matter that it's not?
No,
because I don't want to keep switching it off.
The only thing that happens when it's when you have it on is like you get like a little reverb because you're getting the bounce back from having the mic on. It's
not terrible.
No.
So the ToneX thing, that's the discussion with the again, the passion. I love when you introduced me to this ToneX thing. I mean, I'd seen it and I just wasn't interested. I have these Soldanos. I talk about it all the time. I have such great amps. And I have a great pedal board, a huge pedal board. Since I got this ToneX, I haven't used any of that.
Right, like what? Mike, it's like why eat McDonald's when you have a filet mignon?
Right. But I like McDonald's sometimes. So the I was trying to get a direct recording, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going direct into my Yamaha mixing board, and it's coming through this or whatever. And the tones are basic. But the thing was, I had to talk to Steve several times, figure out how to really adjust this, how to download the ToneNet stuff. I couldn't get that working. There's just, it's not the most intuitive thing. But when you get it dialed in, I really wanted to get those Van Halen profiles, and I probably still will, at least one of the packs for $50. I got to see. But I got 3 tones on here. A Soldano. There was a 5150 that I downloaded from your boy. What was that guy's name?
Amalgam on
Amalgam.
ToneX.
I downloaded his 5150, and then there was another. It might have even been a Soldano, another Soldano, but his was modded, profiled differently. So I got those in 3 different places that I liked. And this is the Soldano thing. But the problem was I went down that river and I was like, man, 2 hours of watching videos, an hour of trying to dial in things. Here I am 3 hours and I'm not playing, and I just want to play. So finally I got one tone in and whatever. Then the next day I did the same thing. Now I'm in a better place where I think I can quickly do a lot of this stuff. But I go back and I'm just want to play. And I was playing to get some of those sounds. I was playing that Whitesnake tune. I think it's still is it
Still the night.
What is it?
Still the night.
Still the night, right. So those chords, I'm like, dude, that's just a cool little chord progression. That's just a great chord progression.
So huge. It's so
dude,
huge.
it's huge. It's arena rock, right? And the way they double it and do all those things, and the doubles are slightly off, and the tones are dude, it just gets huge.
No doubt.
But immediately that reminded me, those first 2 chords reminded me of that other tune that.
Oh, yes. Oh man, what song is that? Oh my god, dude!
It just. I mean, it's those hits are exactly the vocals.
Yeah, I know what it is, and I'm just like, it's
perfect timing.
Yeah.
The skyscraper Steve Vai thing.
Oh,
perfect timing.
Right.
Yep. Okay. And then it goes into. He does that one, whatever. But I'm like, oh my god, dude! How simple of a chord are those things? But the way he has that E chord, it's all fifths, right? So it's E, low E, open. Let me get to this little thing, whatever. So low E open. Then you have the 2nd fret and 2nd fret. So you have the root, the 5th, then the root again. Then you have up here, you have the octave of the 5th. Then you have up here the octave of the root, and then you have an open E string. So it's just root 5th, root 5th, root 5th, right? But it's just huge with those open strings. To a D chord, then a D chord, and it does this C with a D in it, so it's like a D9, a C9.
Yeah.
But he also slides into it at one point. So he's doing those little bar chords or whatever, and it's just so cool. It's almost like, I love that big chord. This is the what is it? Yankee Rose.
Yeah.
Now, if I have a better tone, you can hear all those notes. Again, they're fifths, right? And that chord is something I heard him talk about. There was an interview. I wish I knew who it was, but there's a guy that does interviews from old Guitar World magazines or whatever.
Oh, Jas Obrecht.
Is that who it is? And he's got Van Halen's, but a lot of Steve Vai's, all
Warren.
that.
He did a Warren.
Yes. And so in one of those interviews, he was Steve was talking about, well, how'd you get this one tone off of this flexible? Was it flexible? Maybe it was the Passion and Warfare album. But he had these chords, which is basically that chord. Right, that's the Yankee Rose thing. But that first initial chord is just a fourth interval, C to F. Then you don't play that open G string. On this, you actually can, because you can get that G. But when you move it around, you don't. You basically play a fourth interval, and then on the top two strings, you play a fifth interval from C to G. So you have a fourth and a fifth interval on top of one another. Then you can go. And these chords are so huge, especially when you have the right tone to allow those notes to individually come out.
A little shimmery, yeah.
Dude, it is so fun exploring little, and again, even licks, right? We were talking earlier. Well, that to me is a lick. It's not so much a lick, but it's an idea, a concept that now I want to explore more. There was, again, jumping all over the place. Hopefully, maybe somebody gets something out of all this stuff. But there's that one Steve Vai solo. God, it's going to sound shitty with this tone, probably. Whatever, messy. But I love how I always speed through this. I don't even think that's the tempo of the tune. But what is that solo from? Bump and Grind, maybe?
Bump and Grind. I'm going through the record in my head.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't think it's Bump and Grind.
No, it's not Bump and Grind. It's is that the tune?
What? Latest Night in Buffalo? No.
Maybe. Yeah, that is. It is. It's even that first chord he does. Right, and then at the end it goes.
Yeah. Yep.
Then that big bend.
Right. I love that thing that Vi does. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, he gets into all that stuff. But my point of showing that is super, super messy and blah, blah. But there's so many licks in that solo. And I have taken those licks and used them in my own playing in separate things. The very first thing is just even that sliding down where he goes, slide into something, slide into a cool note. And then those overbends.
Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you, like, that's such a simple concept, and I've stolen that 1,000 times off of Vi. You know, like
the sliding part?
The slide into the overbend is just like the easiest and like it's brilliant and like you could steal it and make it your own because no one's gonna think you stole it from Vi.
They're never gonna know where it came from
because it's gonna sound like you because it's your personality in the bends.
Yep. Think of that Chuck Berry thing we were doing, right? A minor pentatonic, you can go. Right, you start with that big slide, or you can do right, you do that kind of stuff or whatever. But even after that, when he gets into that, right, he's going down a pentatonic scale, then he goes down an arpeggio, a C major arpeggio. Then he does his typical. It's basically an arpeggio, but it's one note per string. Right? Then he goes down a legato thing. Those are all cool. Oh, each one of those is just even that legato thing, right? How many times do you just go down a scale to a target note? I don't do that much. I'm doing licky things, whatever, but start incorporating that. The coolest part of this whole solo to me was the next part where he goes into.
He does that so many different
slick
times.
And slippery. It's obnoxiously slick.
Yeah, but dude, he does that like literally. Like I could think of a billion solos that he does that on, if not every solo. But he masks it because he uses different lines. Like he'll go up, but he does that slippery thing. And like if literally, like if I on my Instagram page, if there's a video that I say like I've composed, chances are I have that lick in there, and maybe not in like the full, 3 positions up the fretboard. I might do it in like a position and a half or something, but like I have stolen that, just because it's so freaking easy.
Oh, dude, because really it's just intervals, right? I mean, you're sliding up, you're going, so you're going from the F note to the A note to the C note, all on the D string. And he's always using that bar to get a little. And it's important to get that last one right to the target note. But if you think about it, you're going here, note, regular notes, then he's doing intervals, a 4th interval, then he's doing a 7th interval, then a 5th interval, right? Now, those intervals don't necessarily matter what order they're in. They just work. You're basically, if you think about the concept, you're climbing from this note to this note, right? However you get there, you can go, right? But that sounds really generic because you're just going 4th, 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 4th. When you start mixing things and turning things over and getting wider intervals,
right,
smaller intervals, that's when your ears, like it's like this flow of magic that's going around and round, dude. He is a master at just taking a simple concept and milking. Even his tapping stuff, he does all that stuff. This is one thing, right? Now, again, it doesn't sound great or whatever, but it's literally just doing pentatonic-y. Right, and it's just, but it's flipping back and forth, string to string, and who does that? I don't know anybody who, Guthrie does it, a few other guys, later down, but man, he was in his own. Everybody was doing the Van Halen stuff, right? When it came to tapping, nobody does the way he does. He's got a unique tapping thing for
he really does. Yeah, he really does for sure. Yeah,
it's fun, dude. It's so much fun stuff. I love this. I really do. This makes my weekend. Like, I'm just so excited to go away from this, and now that I know that I'm the best teacher on the internet, it's
right.
Awesome,
well, today you are. I mean, but tomorrow you're gonna have to defend the crown.
Right? Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm taking a week off. It's Christmas. I'm out for the holidays.
So I guess when are you coming back now?
16th, 17th, I think it is. And then, so probably after Christmas, we'll hook up.
Okay, cool.
And maybe we'll go to, so anybody watching, maybe we'll do
anybody in Jersey.
Coast.
Yeah. And if anybody in Jersey wants to come out and have a slice of pizza with us.
Yeah. Go to a bar, pizza joint, whatever. Let's chat guitar stuff. That'd be fun. That's the thing, dude. I just love meeting similarly passionate people. Sure. Especially the older I get, because it's funny how I go to some of these family things, or I go to some random get-togethers or whatever parties, and people are talking, real estate, 401k. They're talking about the new cars. They're talking about all this stuff. And I can get into any conversation, and it's fun. But man, it's boring as all hell. Like, again, you see how fun I mean, I know once you get off this, you got to probably go to sleep. But I would lay some money on it that I think you'd pick up your guitar for 2 minutes just to fiddle with something before you go to sleep. Maybe.
I mean, I usually, just because I'm tired, tonight I'm probably going to crash out because I've literally been on the phone with friends, with the whole.
Wait, before you tell this story, we got 6 strings and SS73.
I just saw that.
Saying they're from New Jersey. Are these all your ringers? Are these all your
No,
buddies from work?
Listen, if these people know me, I want to know who it is right now. No, where are you guys from? What part of Jersey? So definitely, you don't have to write.
Still in New Jersey?
Yeah. If you're still in New Jersey, I am in Jersey City. So, yeah, definitely curious to see where you guys are. Yeah.
So when you go to when you get off of this, are you going to grab a guitar for 5 minutes, or do you just go out because it's been a long?
I think tonight is going to be dude. I've been going since like 8 o'clock this morning with my friend Mike's passing. I've been on the phone with people, and there was a lot of people that I talked to today. Right. So I'm a little like, even before I was just like, can I do this? And I was like, oh yes, I'm absolutely
glad you did do
this. Yeah. But I will. The first thing I will do tomorrow morning when I get up, because tomorrow is my day off from the gym, thankfully. I will literally get up and probably watch the podcast before I do anything, and that will excite me. Right. And then I will have a guitar in my hands. But then by and anybody watching that watches this, I get up at 4 a.m. So I'm usually in. Yeah, who's the idiot now? I know, right here. But I get up at like 3:30 and I go to work out because I don't. Again, we're talking about passion and being accountable. I lost like 100 pounds by working. Dave lost a lot of weight too. I lost a lot of weight, and so in order to do that, I had to start working out at like 4 a.m. So when I don't go to the gym, I tell my wife I'm going to sleep in, and then it's like 5:30, and she's like, "You're insane, dude." But I'm usually asleep now, like 7 o'clock. So like the world is like going on, and then I'm in the middle of the night, like, and literally this guy will text me, and we're in real time, except for him. It's 1 a.m. And I'm at like 4 a.m. on the treadmill, and like literally for like 2 more hours we're going back and forth, and I'm like, dude, it's 6 a.m. Go to fucking bed, man.
It's only 3 here, dude. I got some transcribing to do. So yeah, let us know where you guys are from in New Jersey. Maybe we'll all hook up or something like that. We're going to end this podcast here shortly. Real quick, I just want to say, anybody, please like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff. If you have watched this before, I got to get some scrolling things that everybody does to make people, or not make them, but suggest, hey, don't forget to subscribe, because that does help. And share these videos and do all that stuff on our Facebook page, Guitar Breakdown. Check that out, and comment and start a conversation. We want to build this whole audience. It's just fun. I love interacting.
And I don't like the word audience, man. I just feel like, you watch other channels, and like I was watching, I was never a real big Andy Wood fan. But I watched his live stream a couple times, and I feel like Andy Wood's like, he's an A-lister for as far as YouTubers go. Yeah. I mean, and he's a mother effer on
as far as player touring guy goes.
But I mean, like, as far as YouTubers go as well. And here he is, and he's engaging, and like he's like saying he's like the same thing, and I was just like, people can engage with him, and so I feel like that is, you're not necessarily, like a fan, or like I watched the show. Like,
I don't think any of this is
no. But I mean, like follower, but like I mean that in the sense where like there's a YouTuber that I watch, and he's not a big time guy. He's got like 35,000 followers, which I mean obviously is a good amount of followers. It's a lot, it's about 10 or so more than we have with this, but
you don't gotta throw us under the bus. People can think we have hundreds of thousands if they don't check.
Listen. Get to my point here is that he treats, he's like, oh, I love my fans, I love my followers, and to me it's like, you're not really. We're all the same, man. Like, I'm sure anybody could do what I'm doing and like come in.
I think it's more of I love just like this. I mean, we've been watching, and we've got a pretty steady stream of 9 to 12 people watching, whatever, which is so small in the scheme of things. Sure. But I appreciate that. I appreciate somebody, because it's not like oh, I appreciate somebody thinks I have something cool to say. It's not. It's like I've spent so many hours learning this shit, and I'm just trying to share it. How excited I am because I know if I'm excited about this, other people are excited about it. And if I could help somebody get to the shortcut of this, I know how many hours it took me to do all this stuff. And just even those concepts of those chords things we were talking about, going through that one creeps tongue.
Creep.
So going through that, dude, there, hey, at least you're still shaking your head. So but
I haven't given up yet.
But just even that, I mean, it's something I would not have thought about unless I saw somebody else showing it who had obviously worked that out in their head. So now I'm just passing it. I mean, I love this curating thing of here, these are the 10 things I've been working on this week because maybe you didn't look at it. I found them this interesting. So if we have similar interest, maybe you'll find those things that you would have never discovered interesting. That's why even this jam thing. So if you look at this, we'll end with this kind of thing. We got this track or whatever that Steve so gloriously has been working on and found the other day, and it's literally I think it's called Andy Timmons inspired backing track, ballad rock B minor instrumental. And so we're gonna do a jam over this. We talked about it earlier or whatever, but we're gonna let me see if my desktop audio is on. You hear that?
Let me put my let me put the speaker on the channel. Hang on.
Can you hear that audio?
I hear the audio.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So it's a real simple B minor backing track with a few little changes or whatever. And it's just a fun, I mean, you could play B minor pentatonic over it. You could do whatever you want, or you could follow the actual chords. Never played over. I played over it that one time. I told you maybe 3 times when you first sent it to me. But again, you were asking how I would start this or whatever. And here, the B minor, right? You just. Whatever. Waiting for the chord. Did it even go to a G? I can't hear it. Yeah. And then so we're on B minor to G, I think.
Yeah.
G major arpeggio. Back to. Oh, now we went to the F. Is that the F?
I'm not listening. I'm listening on the back end.
Right. Yeah. This is awful or whatever. Back to B. It's just a lot of staying in B and going to the G.
Right.
There's that F. That's F minor to G to F7.
Yeah. So right off the bat, just to kind of, I don't want to go too down this rabbit hole now, but
no.
What I really like that you're doing is you're really holding out whole notes,
right,
over like the B minor, even into the G, and so it's creating this very liquid kind of melodic thing, and so that's almost the same approach that I'm taking, but it's going to sound nothing the way you play.
Right.
What I mean? So I'm really excited to.
I am too.
I'm really glad that I thought of this because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And so, if anybody watching this or live with us or on the replay that makes it, an hour or 2 hours into it wants to participate, and we'll talk about this probably next week again as well. If you want to participate, Dave's going to post this link.
I'll pin it on the top of the conversation of this, on the chat on this.
And if you guys want to, if anybody wants to send us the video and we'll put your video up and we'll go through it as well.
If you want us to critique it or whatnot, like
we're gonna
Six String said you wanted to critique that one thing, send me the link or put it in the comments, and I would love to take.
We'll get you guys involved. And I mean, if you have any questions for Dave or myself and kind of what our approach is as we're putting it together too. I mean, feel free to send us an email. Dave's got his email, I believe, right? You have that on the page as well.
Yeah, on the YouTube thing, you can contact me through that. And then also what I'm going to do, I think this week, I'm really going to try. I know with the holidays coming up, I want to do more videos, just not the Friday thing. It's just a lot of production about, editing and doing all that stuff. So I may poke in a few times next week. And one of the things I might do is this. I may explore this idea, and then I'll do like a live thing just by myself once or twice. If you want to pop in afterward, maybe, I'll let you know if I'm doing it or whatever, and you just want to pop in or whatever, and we'll chat maybe for 20 minutes about where we're at with this. Maybe I'll show some examples. Again, exploring not just that kind of thing, but phrasing the that's that Key Moriaka thing or whatever.
And I also don't want to hear too much of what you're doing, because I don't want to be influenced by your ideas.
Yep.
So I will let you probably handle that if you do go live, because I don't want to I want to really kind of develop my own thing. So I will happily, like, if you're not playing anything, I'll hop on. But if you're playing, I don't want to hear it, because I want to really try to come up with my own thing.
Right. Yeah.
But really the key then, will be to, kind of go back and probably about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so, we'll do this live. And I think I'd also like to maybe talk about this again next week, and just try to mention that next chat and get the group. Hopefully next week will be a little bigger and we can kind of have some fun. Because I think the cool thing too is that now with the holidays coming up, most guys are going to have some time off to hopefully play a little guitar. This might be a fun experiment as well. So, I want to maybe get, maybe another week of talking about it. But yeah, for the guys on this week and the ladies that are watching, if there's any ladies here, this can be the link that Dave will post, and we'll go through it from there. But Dave,
fun, man.
This was a fun 2 hours. I can't believe it's actually over already, man. It's crazy. Today went by super quick, and I thought, I want to thank everybody for popping in and watching and joining us. And that's my speech. And again, my last words before I turn it over to Dave is, don't take anything for granted. I mean, we were talking about passion and excitement. Don't take life for granted, man. Like I said, if anybody's watching this that wasn't watching, I lost one of my very, very, very best friends yesterday. So I'm a little emotional right now. I'm always a little emotional, but I'm especially a little more. But don't take anything for granted, and just enjoy every moment with the people that you love. Don't argue with people on the internet, with strangers.
Especially this holiday season, all the if you're in America, all the bullshit that goes on with the politics and the bullshit, whatever. I mean, the world's a mess.
Go around it.
But if you literally, if you close your eyes and don't think of anything, the only thing that exists is what is in your brain. There is literally, if you close your eyes, none of the other nonsense is existing.
It's all noise, and so the one thing that we'll never do is get into that noise. This is fun. This is
I got something to say about Trump, but no, I'm joking. So that's the thing. It's like, dude, it's the holiday season. Like all the people that say, oh man, I don't want to see this person at the holidays because they're this and that. And dude, can we not talk about the awesome cheese platter? Can we not talk about Christmas Vacation that I can still watch after all these years? Can we talk about that it's snowing out and I don't ever get to see a change of weather in California, which I love because I get to play tennis every week. But man, I'm going to enjoy. I don't care how cold it is. I may say, oh my God, it's friggin' freezing out, but I'm never going to say this sucks. It's freezing. Dude, I'm going to enjoy it. I don't get this. So, and then all these things, this music stuff, dude, this community, I love. I absolutely love. And when I see people at NAMM show, when I used to go years ago, every time I would see someone, hey, you're the Guitar Breakdown guy. I'm like, are you serious? How do you even know? I mean, it's cool. I just love people with the same kind of love and enjoy. So everybody here, thank you so much for doing this, watching on Friday nights. I know it's dude, you could be doing anything else, but we really appreciate that. And the more people just share this, like it, subscribe, comment, whatever. I want to hear from people. And so 6 string, let us know, SS73, let us know where you actually are from in New Jersey. Maybe we'll all hook up in during the Christmas holidays. Maybe we'll go to the Bitter End in New York or something and see Osnoy or somebody like that. And whatever. Everybody have a great holiday. We will see you next week if I don't see you sooner. If otherwise, Friday we will be here again. Let us know if there's any topics you guys want to talk about. Check out Guitar Breakdown, which the website should really be up soon. We still have the Alan Hines lesson package. Don't shake your head. Now that seems so negative. Are you going to end on a negative?
It's not. No, listen. It's not negative. I told you. I'm only shaking my head because I expect better from you. It's when I don't shake my head that I've given up on you.
Dad. I'm done getting expected about. All right,
no, look,
everybody, have a great weekend.
Great Alan Hines packages. Dave's going to get them, and you should be ordering them. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend, guys.